Welcome back to the Madden God podcast. I'm Max, your host. I'm here with the wonderful, the one and only, and forever here and there, and shining star, Roxanne Twinheart. Hi, Roxy, how are you?
Hello, Max. I'm wonderful. Thanks again for that epic intro. I'm doing well, quite well. And how about yourself?
I'm great too. Yes,
Good.
I'm very good. So, uh, this week, as we said, we're going back into our uh, abilities, and we said we're going to talk about magic, the big M word, magic, the taboo word.
A magic
um,
taboo word? Hmm.
yes, yeah, because we have made magic something that is not accepted as available and as doable and as existing.
Yeah, we
So,
chalked it up to illusion.
yeah, we have made it something that uh, is not there. Denial, right? And there is always a scientific explanation, or if there isn't a scientific explanation, there is another explanation, which is the external God making a miracle,
There you go.
perform a miracle, right? So, um, what is magic? Well, the big question. The big question. What is magic? I will start to say that, first of all, magic, we have to, I think, first demystify, because of the denial we are in, we have to demystify magic as not being a miracle. It's absolutely not a miracle. We are putting this into our abilities, and there's a reason why we're putting it into our abilities, is because that is something that we are able to do.
Yes, yes, it's an ability.
And we do not need miracles to do that, and it's something that we all can perform. It's not extraordinary, it's ordinary.
Absolutely, but you can't. Well, you can claim it as ordinary, but you have to represent it as ordinary. You have to represent that, and that's how the collective will
uh,
return. We were magicians before,
uh,
and then whenever religion
okay,
decided to
to
be what it is,
represent it as
magic
ordinary.
was
Yeah, you're
held
back.
accountable
Sorry,
as,
you stop. You just stop for 5 seconds. You were frozen. So you
yeah,
were
you were
saying that
frozen
you have
too.
to represent it. Ah, okay, right. You were saying that you have to represent it as ordinary. That's when it
Represented
stopped.
as ordinary. Yeah, represented as ordinary. We can claim it, but if there's no representation, it's a miracle still. There has to be daily representation or human representation. It's kind of like, you remember the movie Phenomenon? There's a movie Phenomenon with, oh God, John Travolta. Sorry, John. So he was taking something and making it float in midair, you know? And that was like science and mystifying, but no one was like, oh my God, he goes, it's easy. It's just, we all have this. He was trying to sell them the point that we all can do this. It's just communication between things, and he was able to understand and move things and do this stuff. And of course, it came through the event of the storytelling. He got shot by lightning, and then he got these powers and this wisdom and this insight. And it just probably just took down the barriers, and then he just evolved himself with that new kind of knowledge. So it's never out of bounds. Anything that's in consciousness is automatically a relationship as soon as it hits your awareness. So when you're introduced to magic, you're aware of it, you're having a relationship with magic. And how far you explore magic is up to you. So some people explored great magic. Merlin, in the 1500s, 1400s, 1500s, there were magicians everywhere, and there were good ones. This wasn't spooky stuff. But then when religion came, they made it bad. They made it, witchcraft and all the magic that we performed in those days were um, uh, compressed or suppressed by religion and the whole story and the power. And we're just, if we don't like them, we'll kill them. So they're slaughtering humans everywhere because they weren't conforming. So that's not right or wrong. That's how humans evolved. That's where the consciousness went. That's no big deal. But what is understood is once you have a concept of something, resonance or attraction will take care of it. If you are resonating with it from the internal, not the external. So let's take a side note and give a quick note of that. Someone says, "Oh, you can make a lot of money if you do this. You learn this skill." So they go to college and they get that degree and they say, "Wow, I'm making a lot of money, but I fucking hate it," because they're not resonating with that, right? So some people want to explore magician and they go and they only take it so far because they're not in love with it. So they can't take it into the depths of creation to where you manifest that reality around you, like the old school magicians and the witchcraft and the druids and everything that performed magic on this planet long before they shut it down. And I refer to they as the mass collective evolving. Okay, so you have to bring that representation. Jay Z Knight was on Merv Griffin's show in the '70s, channeling Ramtha. That was one person. A lot of people thought they were whacked and she's crazy, voices. There were so many opinions, but it was introduced. It was represented. Now there's a million channelers on the planet. They're all over the place. We have channels, and it's developing. We're very interested in it. Some channels are doing it because it's their life purpose and they have a relationship of identity with it, and which is not wrong. It's still being explored. So that's why it's present on the earth. Magic is still present. I practice my witchcraft. I create magic because I don't look for witchcraft or proof of magic. I don't look for it to be successful. I don't have the relationship of lack with my pursuant. So your passion um, about an ability is going to be explored. And I promise you, resonance or law of attraction, what you're vibrating with attraction, that alignment will bring you the things over and over again to help you expand. Help you expand. I wanted to wake up. I got students. Students helped me wake up, showed me about me, how I can become a better self, a better version of myself, an evolved self out of the separation of humanity. I'm already good enough as a whole being, but I had to evolve the fractal experience, the separation experience. So magic is an ability because it's within consciousness. But to explore it, first it must align with you. And second, you can't question what you're doing and you can't take in the reality of other vibrations that question what you're doing either. You just have to do it on your pace, your tempo, and don't let anyone break your stride kind of thing and start exploring it. And that's, how people become great uh, astrologists and uh, it doesn't even have to be spiritual. There's great astronomers. There's great um, astrophysicists. Because they're interested and they learn things and they explore things. See, we're thinking that we have to find the answers that are out there. No, it's what we can discover in our own little kingdom, our own little awareness, our own little bubble of I am that we're capable of exploring and creating and representing to the co-created reality. Now, I'm not going to go out and represent the idea of witchcraft and magic and start flying my broom around or anything like that. That's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about showing them, we're talking about doing it for yourself and realizing that magic is real and it's there and you can perform it. Not illusion, magic, which is different than illusion. You know, an illusionist and the card tricks and stuff, great stuff, fantastic. Make a
Yes,
building disappear, make a house disappear, whatever, make an elephant disappear. All of these kinds of things are wonderful ideas of entertainment. But magic is just like, it's like a way of life. You can, channeling is a way of life for me. My witchcraft is a way of life for me. My writing is a way of life. It's a way I explore my life. I'm not doing it to accomplish. I don't have an external image with it to say, I do this. Please love me for it. And I'm this. So if I have that relationship, I'm going to be shitty at it. I'm going to suck at it because I'm not myself. But once you become yourself, you can become a magician, but not the magician on stage. Work your own magic. And that magic can be
yes,
employed any way you want it to, but make sure it's resonating with you. First, that's why I work so much on the self, to make sure you're not running yourself from diarrhea, the diarrhea of humanity. They're distractions of images and needs and wants and postulates and formulas and theories about what life is, and trying to figure it out from a from a from a diminished point of view called human. You're trying to figure out creation from a human point of view, and if it's not in the memory of the human consciousness in the current now, then it's out of bounds. You are the intelligence of all that is. You have access to the intelligence of all that is, the eternal library of all that is. You go in, you pick out a book, and it'll come to you and you'll start teaching you. So magic is first possible. There's a, what about a 6, 7 minute rant on it's just possible. You want to approach it that way, to know it can be represented. These stories weren't made up, they were represented.
yes,
Representation, interpreted, and written down, and folklore changes. Go ahead.
yes. It's like then you got Merlin becoming material of fantasy, or right? Did he exist or not? Was it real or not? Uh, Obviously, it was. He is real. He is in existence and performing magic. And somehow I think we can say it, right. Performing magic, it's like standing up and walking. It's that you just do it, and it's not about doubts, or right. That is what we will express um, as what we have learned to doubt
Yes.
it, right? Because that's the expression of what we have decided to explore, the doubt, the
Right.
the external. Um, so now we are learning to go inside and to discover again that we are able to do these things. And I see that I was thinking about this. What can we say about magic? And I said I see that as an ability, but more as what we can do, because we have this idea that in order to be able be to be capable of having access to these abilities, we have to raise our vibration, go in the fourth, fifth, sixth dimension. Because when you go up, then you get new abilities. No, everything that is done in other dimensions we can do. So why aren't we performing those things? Because we choose not to. Because that's part of our collective, part of our experience. We forgot. We forgot that we can do it. That's all, folk. That's all the difference about our abilities. There's obviously it's a different vibration. So yeah, it's a different vibration. But as of what we are all that. We are not less than. So
Right.
that is really something that, right, because we have received this information about the dimensions and going up 4, 6, 7, 8, 12. That's great. The thing about that is that it has given us humans, and we human do work that way, that there is an upgrade, there is something to gain, to go up,
Right. Because humans think that way.
right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thinking. It's a good way to start relating to that. But now we are evolving, and now we can finally just perceive, understand, and accept that we are not less than, and that we are also able to do those things. So magic is part of that, and also the idea that magic has never been performed on this reality. Well, that just forget that magic has been performed on this reality, on this earth, and we have the proof of it because it is in stories, in fairy tales, and in many accounts that we have received from past from the past, um, that are there. And where did these people went to invent this magic? Did they imagine it out of thin air? They may have modified or put some different way of presenting it, but the fact that is in writing, that it is in presented to us in whatever way, is because they experienced it.
Yes. It was represented. 100%.
It was represented. And it's not just the accounts, is that we also have grimoires, we have book spells, and all of that have one way or another come to us. And so again, it's not fantasy. They have been, that they are an idea of creation that is there, available to us, because it is what we are able to do.
Yes. And when you're going to journey into an ability, take out time. Remove remove time from your mind about how quickly and when's it going to happen, because that's a relationship. If I invest my time, is it going to be a waste of time? If I go forward, I can't do it. You gotta trust law of attraction. It's the third law of the universe. It fucking third law of creation. Truly, it works. I'm living proof of it. I'm not going to prove it to you. I'm just representing a possibility, and you pick it up in whatever way you want. But the idea about manifesting the abilities, remove time from it and don't rush it. Explore it. When I started exploring witchcraft, I've been doing it for 4 years, and I started by reading about it and grabbing books and looking at the folklore of it, and then I just developed it on my own. I start writing my own spells. I start performing my own magic. I do enchantments. I do conjurings, and I explore magic. So and it's becoming bigger with me. There's a more of an appetite to pursue it deeper, but there's also other stuff. So my life has plenty of time to do it all. I'm not trying to do it all today. I'm doing it all in my pursuit of my life that is attracted to me and exploring those things. You just have to trust and watch it develop. It's kind of like when you maybe start a new craft. You take up knitting and you start to knit and you like it. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you have yarn everywhere and projects going on and a whole bunch of needles. creation is going to attract those things to you. So, because you're interested in it, you're interested in it, and it doesn't matter what you're doing because creation doesn't judge what you're doing. Creation says, I'm your best fucking friend. I'm going to give you what the fuck you are. So you got to look at what you're representing. So I explore channeling, which is still evolving inside of me. I'm still getting better at channeling, evolving it in different ways, exploring it in different ways. And then I'm writing, and my writing from the angelics that is just released, and I'm writing the second book, is already developing. It's already changing. I'm finding deeper parts of me to explore and express through my writing. And that's just creation working. I'm not worried about if it's going to make me money. I'm not worried about if I'm going to be successful. I'm not thinking about what's it going to do for me because that's all externalism and the lack of self. So magic is an ability that take a lifetime to explore. Start now if it resonates with you. But if you're doing it for an image like, oh, I can be a magician, and you got to feel that resonation within you. Maybe you just want to do tarot card reading or do an idea of channeling or become a medium or something like that. If you're looking for the abilities, psychic or something, this is our stream of abilities. There's also, different kinds of venues that you can use or disciplines that you can use. There's, for psychics that use cards, psychics that use crystals, psychics that use pendulums, psychics that use runes, soothsayers and truthsayers, and little things about those ones that there's a whole bunch of ways, and those people aren't gifted. They're not gifted. They're an ordinary run-of-the-mill god creating its reality. You can't put anything outside of you as gifted or better because then you're putting yourself in a vibrational relationship to reality of less than. And no one can be less than, ever. So we want to think about our approach in our pursuit of our abilities. So, I'm witnessing my evolution. Now, I'm not going to say I didn't have those thoughts. I still had those appetical thoughts of the ego, poking at me, say, "Hey, what happens if you do this?" And you can get that. And those are very emotionally seductive. And I'm not going to go out and do all this stuff to perform, because I'm not a monkey on stage performing looking for quarters. I'm not that. I'm an exploratory of self. I'm an enlightener of my own evolution. I'm evolving and learning myself and what's possible in creation in my world. And that's represented to the world. We had people represent things all over the place. How do you think we got to today? All of the stuff that we have today, because it was represented. There was someone that took the idea and explored it and furthered it. Alan Turing's computer that figured out the Enigma machine was the first machine that went and thought and tried to understand another machine, and it worked. And we have computers because this guy built $100,000 machine in World War II so we can beat the Germans. At that time, Britain beats the Germans. So he found something, and that was represented. Now look around. You have a computer in your hand. You have a computer in your pocket right now. That was represented. We didn't have computers before then. There were no computers. It was represented. So that idea of magic being already represented in the collective, it's never going to go away. It's always a possibility. But most people nowadays are too busy trying to worry about their credit and what great job they can have and please their parents and get the kids and have a great life and die. That's the mass majority. But we're not talking to the mass. We're talking about the explorers of internal self that have these ideas access. So when you find the idea of an ability that resonates with you, explore it, and you will attract all the means to do it. I wanted to channel, and I start channeling my ass off. Creation supported my life, my money, my food, my love that I found with Tommy, my shelter, all provided for, all kept on manifesting, never failed me, not once. And start maturing myself, deconstructing, doing my own work while I'm channeling, honing my skills, attracting students, people so I can craft myself better. So when I do my witchcraft, I'm attracting new ideas, new spells to try, new things to relate to. So all of it is possible. And the idea that you were talking about, Max, what is magic itself? What is it? Is there enough definition for it? Here, let's see. Hey Siri, define magic for me. A power of apparently influencing the course of events by using mysterious or supernatural forces. That's what magic means. Using something we can't touch, mysterious and supernatural. How about consciousness? How about the will of the now? How about I am creator? You know?
I am
So
doing
that's what
it.
magic is. You're what?
I am doing it. Not
Yeah,
mysterious forces out there. I am doing it.
right. Right. But that's what humans accept right now. That's what the idea is apparently changing something with the supernatural forces, unseen forces, magic.
Yes. From there to go to magic must be the manifestation of the evil, because,
Yes, that's where they'll
right?
go with it
The
because that's what was sold. Magic is
Yeah,
evil. It's the work of the devil, so they can get more people into their churches and make their fucking money. Now, I'm not saying
and
everyone was
suppressing.
insincere. There were sincere people out there, but the mass majority of them, I mean, just think about the Spanish Inquisition. If you guys don't know what the Spanish fucking Inquisition is, read about that. Talk about a society that slaughtered everybody because they didn't like, because they weren't a Christian, right?
Horrible period. Yeah, horrible period to be living in, because
Evolutionary period. Horrible, yeah, but evolutionary.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Because there were
absolutely.
magicians. Because there were fucking
Yes.
magicians. And no, that's got to be the evil work. Go ahead.
Yeah, and they wanted to suppress or to eliminate that. But right, it's that illusion, or this illusion that a human can have, is that if you don't like it, you can suppress it by making, I don't know, today they want to cancel culture or cancel those that they don't like. But the reality is that all you are doing is that you are just keeping the energy somewhere and storing it up until the moment where that energy is just breaking the barrier and then coming back, and in a certain way, because you cannot really suppress it, you cannot eliminate it. It exists, it is. And also that is something that they are made of. They're doing it, right? They have those abilities. They're only suppressing them, denying them. But again, you cannot eliminate them, because they are part of us, and they
Part of
have always,
consciousness.
and they are.
There's no other, yeah,
Yes.
it's a part of consciousness. You can't get rid of existence.
Yeah. So it's
There's
it's
no
what we are.
getting
It's
rid of
like,
existence.
exactly. That's our worth, that you can, or I don't know, you can express life, you can express unworthiness, you can express whatever you want in your everyday life, in your reality, in what you are experiencing. But that is the choice. That is what you are doing in that moment. Doesn't take away what you are. Your worth is still there. Uh, your being a god is still there. You just have forgotten it. It doesn't eliminate that. It's still there. That's what you are. And but again, it's part of our experience to have that forgetfulness or whatever. And so then, when something is out of the ordinary, then, well, human being get into fear. So when we get into fear, what do we do? Well, we have to suppress it. We have to fight against it. So magic has been put into fear. So the only way to deal with magic was to suppress it, to fight against it, to have everyone that were experiencing it, expressing it, eliminate it. So you are getting rid of the problem. Right. Yeah.
But
And
now
it's
it's not a
just one
problem.
example, right? No.
Yeah, now you can have these things again because they're being represented. If this was the '60s or the '50s, and gay people were going to go to jail, and now homosexuality is everywhere. It's allowed because it's an expression. It's true. Same thing with witchcraft. I'm a witch. I wear my witch pentacle on my, as a necklace. I represent, just like a Christian wears a Christian. I represent, the way of my life, is witchcraft. But we couldn't have that before. So the species has evolved. The suppression is moving away because we're bursting through our own limitations that the collective, this human collective, created. We're evolving, and change is represented. So you pick up in one of these abilities, and we're moving ourselves into consciousness, into co-creation, into the idea of beyond brick and mortar and fact and standards and abiding and obeying and all that crap, you know, and we're moving into a new direction. So every little bit, don't look for the big outcome. Don't look for when's it going to all be perfect. Do your part now, explore your world, take care of your kingdom, and create an ability that's attracting and explore it.
So, what are let's say what is who's in that we know that are practicing magic that we have? So we have witches, we have shamans.
Shamans,
Uh, we
voodoo, voodoo,
have
voodoo, voodoo priests.
voodoo, exactly, marabout.
Yes,
Um, Then we have, well, the Celtic. Oh no, it's with the staff. Oh, ah, I'm missing the word. Um, and they are representations of the past. Let's say the historical figures, but we still have them nowadays. There are people identifying and as shaman, as marabout, as voodoo that are right now in
can you tell?
existence and
Can
performing.
you? Yeah, go ahead and talk about marabou, because I think shaman is a common enough word, and voodoo has been in the culture. What's marabou?
Um, it's
I've heard of it because I
from
don't know.
Africa. Yeah,
Africa, right?
it's Africa. Yeah, they are located in Africa, and they are seen as historically, let's say, as the healer, the of the village, and they had and they have a central position in the village, because of their ability of healing. But it's not the only thing they do, obviously. But a lot
Kind of like
is
a witch
around that.
doctor. Kind of like a witch
Exactly.
doctor of the tribe.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard the term, and I knew it was Africa, but I didn't know if they were associated with healing, magic, the whole thing.
Yes, and then foresight, uh, and
Yeah,
many things
like a
like that.
soothsayer.
Yeah. And then they were they had the village gravitating around them, and they were seen as wisdom. Yeah, a lot of wisdom coming from them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how the African society have long been built around the wisdom of the older generation, the elderly that are seen that they really have a position and they really are seen as those that have that wisdom. So the Marabu has all of that in with them, and so that's one of the reasons why they have this central position and that they are well seen in the village and in the
Got it.
community.
Yeah. Kind of like the
The
holy man of
Druid,
the Native American tribe. The Druid is another one. Exactly.
yeah, that's where I was. The Druid, it's another one. Yeah, and as you see, and many of these, right? It's they have that position. It doesn't matter, right? The Marabu or the Druid or the Voodoo. They have that function in their community, um, and and that is something that they were having outside of what is the religion, or they may have been connected with a religion, but it was not necessary. They always, obviously, many many of them had a religion with gods and all of that, so that there could have been
Sure.
a magic performed linked with gods, but they their position was not due to a religion position. They mainly had their witchcraft, their abilities, and
They're they're
to
magic.
sustain them, their magic. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, right, and um, obviously, right now, nowadays, it depends where you go. Uh, if you are in the middle of a, I don't know, Europe, European towns with a lot of Christianity that have been there, you may have an experience that where it's not out there because you don't do
It's
that.
not
It's
represented. Yeah.
not represented, right? But
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you go in Africa, well, it's another sort of society. Then, when you are in a village in Africa, you will have that presence of the magic because they are experiencing it that way. And also because they are far away from civilization or our civilization, so they don't have access to all the medicine, all of the stuff that we use here because it's available. That's our way of doing. So the magic or the presence of the healer, it's a necessity, I will say. It's a different way of relating to the experience. So this
Absolutely.
is also to say, right, that it's not because we are in a technological era that everywhere is the same and no, we still have differences, and when you change of country, continent, you discover different things. It's like if in America, if you go in South America, in Brazil or Colombia, Venezuela, you'll find a completely different society than what you'll find in North America.
Sure. Absolutely. So I love it. We have access to it. What were you going to say? You're about to say something.
Yeah, now I thought I have another question then is in your experience, is magic something that you have to um, to create through a ritual or through a formula with a wand, for instance, or is it something that you can also create in the moment, in the flow of creation? Because you're doing magic unintentionally, let's say.
Well, that's kind of it's that's not a one or the other question. It's impossible for that to be one or the other. I don't know what you're
So
asking.
it's
Okay,
all of that. Like it's
well, of
all of that.
course, but uh, if magic happens unintentionally, how do I know it's magic?
Yeah, and it's not the right way of putting it. It was just to
Yeah. Um,
differentiate the two. It's
okay, so
um,
hang on. Let me see what you're trying to say here. Let me feel this out. So, do I need rituals or certain practices, certain tools to in order to create magic, or can I just do it in the moment with my will? I don't know, without all those stuff. Well, they're both of them.
yes,
Yeah, I use a wand, but sometimes I don't use a wand. I like my wand work. That's an expression. I write my own spells and I use the wand. I enchanted my wand, and it's not the greatest wand. It's a good wand, but I have a better wand out there and I haven't found it yet. And as soon as I find it, my magic will become better because that's my way. It's not because of the wand, it's because of the relationship that I have. And I can't change that because that's the resonance of those things. So what you do is you evolve the work. You evolve the work. You don't demand it and want it to be something. You just evolve it and you take the journey. So, um, okay, say there's a criminal running down the street that just stole a lady's purse. Okay, so I'll take I always have rope on me, about 6 to 8 inches of thin rope or cloth, you know, like a strip of cloth, and that's knots. So knots create a magic force. So I tie 2 knots in this rope and I grab it like I'm picking up a suitcase handle, if you can imagine that, but just as a rope, and I'll yank it. And then I'll cause the robber that's running away to trip. So that's the magic that you can perform because that's the way I created that experience. I don't want to create it out of an idea of I don't need anything because that would be a posture. I do it as it comes. I develop it as it is, and that's my representation, and it works for me, and it doesn't need to work in any other way because it doesn't. It's not for anybody else. So your representation of your channeling, your psyche, your all of your abilities, your healers are yours. That's why standardizing everything is such crap. It's such bullshit. You know, you have to open a circle and you have to pray to the north and the south and the east and the west with saying these things. Well, if you like, you know, paying homage to the keepers of the north and the south and the east and the west, does it matter what way you do it? They're going to get mad if you don't do it in the right order. See, all that's the hysteria,
yeah,
and that's the control, and that's all that. What you do is don't be afraid of loss and failure, because that's a human aspect of interpretation that you put upon yourself if you accept that reality, either through your own consciousness of unworthiness or that because someone told you that's wrong. And they look like an authority, and it's like, you're a dick. It's not wrong, it's my way. So I love working with wands. I have a wand strap that I put on my leg and it hooks to my belt loop. So I carry my wand around with me. So when I don't carry it all the time, but I can carry it because I have a wand holster. So that's the way I do magic. But you can also do it without things, I suppose. But I don't do things without. That's a crystal wand. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I've I really want
yeah.
cool and yeah
You can't see
and
that, folks, but uh,
yeah it's what is it, 10 centimeters long wand with a crystal and the representation of the different chakras on it.
There you go.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, 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 I remember you showed that to me.
So my wand is, let's see, let's measure it. For you people using the imperial system, it is 14 inches long. Sorry, 15 inches long. It's a walnut wood that's tapered down round into a solid point with some cuts that like a candy cane, just not white and black. But if you spin a candy cane, you know how the color goes up and down depending. That's the cuts that are in about the top three quarters of it, or top one quarter of it. The handle is green. It's a resin with swirled white and dark green in it. So there's some like cloudy green in there, a little white that's cloudy, but it's mainly a emerald forest green, and that's got various lathe kind of shapes in them, like what you would find with an ornate leg of a chair. It's kind of lathe, Lathed, lathe, and uh, and that's the one. And then I have the holster here, and it's tied in the front that wraps around, and the wand slides down into it. And at the top, there's a folded over strap that forms the belt, where you put the belt with two rivets and a picture of a flower, and that's it. So I can wear that, and instead of drawing a gun, I draw a wand.
It's beautiful.
So
Magnificent.
you can feel the power of a wand. And because see, when a wand comes into your reality and you're interested in magic, that wand is going to be a resonance with you. Now I ordered this wand, and it wasn't exactly what I wanted, but I wasn't going to go back. It took 6 months to get, and it took a while. And I found another wand maker, um, and this one isn't bad. Again, it's a good wand, but it's not a great wand. I can only do so much because of their creator behind it. So now I have a better wand maker, and I'll order a better one when I'm ready to move forward to that. So yeah, and whatever it's kind of like a tarot card reader can do a reading without tarot cards. But why? You know, it's a tarot card. It's the way you do it. So you make it your own, even if you don't use anything. You know, like Samantha. Samantha just from Bewitched just tickled her lips, bucka bucka bucka. And Tabitha used her nose, and then Dora would whoop, and you know, Agatha would what was that again? Hang on, and she'd point her little finger. They all do it their own way. So I think it's very, what's that, baby? Oh yeah, she also Tabitha also did her little fingers. Remember that? She would
Ah,
twitch her little
yes,
fingers.
yes.
Yeah, that was my boyfriend. Everyone, he was sitting next to me. And he goes, "Oh yeah, there's this." So so when you start the journey in these things, don't be afraid that you're going to get it wrong. People always want to know, well, how do I do this? How do I do this? Look what education did to us. Here's what you need to know. Everything else is shit. And if you learn it, you're wasting your fucking time. And that's such bullshit. If it's not accredited, it's not the same. It's just entertainment. This is what's real. Here's how we're supposed to. Before you act and don't screw things up, you better know how. That's crap. You fucking cowards. So, anyways,
Just do it and
what
trust
what is
it.
yeah, exactly. Go and refine yourself and evolve yourself. So you pick up something and you start the journey. You might read about it. I read about witchcraft. I read about getting your own grimoire book. And, you know, I started doing a spell book. My handwriting was terrible. So I started putting everything on the computer. So I got all my spells on the computer, you know. I don't need a grimoire book. I grabbed it to start it and then expanded it from there, you know, and came up with my own spells. Now I'm a channeler, so I channeled some fucking witches. So I brought in Esmeralda, I brought in Agatha, and Agatha is not the same one on Bewitched. Agatha is a medium, but she's also a witch. She's a very crafty medium, but she's also a kitchen witch. So Esmeralda and them, they teach me different ideas about, you know, being a green witch and gray witch. however they define it. It doesn't really matter. I just explore the world of it. So magic is a tighter world, and the spells and the enchantments and they work. Of course they work because you're a creator of reality. But you got to get the relationship right. You got to get that relationship in your head right. You can't externalize it, demand it, cry about it, buy it, sell it, or anything like that. You have to explore it within your consciousness and remember that you are a creator. Trust the evolution of yourself, and you can be your own magic. And it will be represented, but you're not going to go, I got to prove it to people. You're not going to do that because you're not 10 on a playground going, look at me, everyone, I can bounce a ball.
And it's you have to trust you, trust that you are doing it, that you can perform it, that you are performing it, and the let's say outcome, don't put any weight on the outcome. When you perform, let's say, a spell for water or for rain, the rain may not come straight away. Why will the rain come straight away, right? In your performance of it, water may manifest in 1 week, 1 month, whatever. It's not about the time. It's about you perform it, and then you have a result. The result happens. Be able to recognize it when it manifests, because it's very easy to reject it. I I perform a spell for water for rain, and and as I did that, I voiced my headset in 1 week. So 1 week later, it was rain. So was it because of my spell? I don't care.
But that's
It's
the ego mind.
I don't have to, right. I don't have to go into that because that's luck. It happened.
Yep,
I
yep,
recognize it. It's
yep,
real. That's all. Don't ask
absolutely.
questions. And it's today I had a session with someone first time, and so during the Reiki, it was in so remote. I feel a entity coming in and taking charge of the session, of what was happening, moving, and I was moving my arms, my hands. They were doing that. So I was taking the seat back. So I just asked, "Who's here?" And then I just allowed the answer to come, and I had an answer, and that was offered, and then it was up to me: do I take it or not? Is it my ego or not? Right? And I even didn't go there. I just took the answer and offered it.
And
This
moved
is
on.
the answer.
Yep.
You move on. You do not stay with the, oh, is it real or not? Because if you do that, then you are just validating your ego
And
and
you're shutting the
validating your
vibration
luck.
down. Yeah, you're
Yes.
shutting the vibration down.
You accept that you are.
Yes.
Don't fight against you. And I mean, it takes practice. Let's be honest. It takes practice because um, it's
It takes the
valuing the
exploratory.
self.
Yes. Yes. That's why we don't put time on it. Go ahead. Keep it going. Practice
Yeah,
it.
I mean, practice it. Yes, practice. And when you practice, do pay attention to that detail of not invalidate yourself. Do accept what is manifested, what is offered. the information you receive, take it as it comes. It's part of the exercise, is part of the evolution.
You're part
Being
of the
able
journey.
to take that,
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
take it. Don't shut it down. You're shutting down
Never shut it
yourself.
down. Exactly. You're letting the mind tell you, since you don't have the proof or the outcome of expectation, that the mind values that polarity fractal value as what's real, then you shut it down if you accept that truth. You just keep going. My magic didn't work the first or second or third or 40th. I don't even know when it happened, but when it happened, I was like, okay, I got it now. You recognize it. I had to evolve it in myself. I took the journey. My channeling started by communicating and relaying and speaking different languages with these aliens, and it was all going on in my head. And once I was translating that, what they were saying to me in their language into English from the audience members that were listening, it was epic fucking shit. Stuff that I couldn't think of because it wasn't stored in my memory. Concepts I would never have fathomed. So that validated my channeling. And I kept on going without expectations and honed it into many different idea avenues. And witchcraft is the same. There's a lot of different things you can do with witchcraft: alchemy, cooking, you know, like you said, bring rain, different spells, conjuring, enchantments, you know, whatever it is. And that's witchcraft. But there's different kinds of magicians out there. There's if it's a voodoo idea or a shaman idea, it doesn't matter. But make it yours. You can start by looking and looking into it and watching a shaman or watching a witch or a channeler or whatever, but then make it yours. Don't be afraid to fuck it up because you're not fucking it up. You're exploring yourself. You're finding your team. As long as your resonance is true to yourself, you are unstoppable because creation doesn't listen to the outside. Creation is the internal I am that's attracting its own validation. Again, trusting law of attraction. So become the magician you want to be, or any of the abilities that we've talked about. Booyah.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So,
Fantastic.
uh, right. So, Roxy, time to go.
Yeah, looks like our hour's up. Yeah.
Yes. Uh,
Okay, you can,
where can we?
yeah, find me.
Yes.
You can find me at odysseyofascension.com. And I want to announce there is uh, I'm having
Oh, yes, yes.
a workshop coming up in San Antonio, Texas. So if you go to my website, Odyssey of Ascension, there's a tab that says upcoming workshop. It's this April in San Antonio, and it gives you various ideas of what we'll be doing. And some of those ideas we've talked about, we're going to be teaching classes on mediumship, channeling, tarot card readings. We might even teach remote viewing and techniques on psychics or different ideas. So we're going to make this a very interactive workshop where we're also going to work on ego recognition, transcends of identity, emotions, and we're going to have practice sessions, guided meditations, free time. So that is this April. Go to Odyssey of Ascension, ODYSSEY, of Ascension is spelled ASCENSION.com. And under the upcoming workshop, all the information is there. So there you go.
12th to
And also
16th.
YouTube. Yep, April 12th
Yeah.
through the April 16th. It's a 4-night stay, so you stay on the 12th, the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, and you check out on the 16th. And that starts on a Wednesday and ends on the Sunday. So there you go. That's where you can find me. And Max, where
And
can they find you?
you can find me on Breakfast with Max on my website, and also YouTube, Breakfast with Max. And you can contact us via our email, the Madden God podcast at gmail.com. And thank you for joining in. Thank you, Roxy.
You're welcome.
And
We'll
we'll
see you all
see
next
you
week.
next week. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.